Look into the microphone. Look into the microphone. Speak into the microphone, which is ironic because my microphone broke. So that's kind of a bummer, but good to see you guys. Welcome in. Those of you joining live, love you. And those of you watching after the fact, I still love you as well. This is B2B Mentors. I'm going to talk today about how CMOs can get their leadership team booked on more podcasts. Let's go. Welcome in. You know I didn't say it, but I got to say it. Hey, podcast listening people. Happy Money Marketing Mentorship Monday. I'm so happy to see you. Vinny, if you're watching this, my friend, those of you who might know my friend Vinny, we're supposed to do a podcast interview today with my good friend Vinny, which is going to blow your guys' mind. But unfortunately, my microphone broke. And if I'm having Vinny on the podcast, it's got to sound good. It's got to be top notch. And so I decided that we're going to reschedule till I get my new microphone in. But either way, nonetheless, I made a promise to you guys that I would bring you great content. So here I am. I was thinking today, we have this B2B marketing mastermind coming up here on Thursday, completely free if you want to attend. And we're going to be talking about PR. We're going to be talking about PR, media. I'm going to put the link in here, live event. Let's see if that worked. Running a little rugged and slow here. PR and media. And podcasts are a very, very strong method to get your company featured, to get authority, to get thought leadership, to get your message out to not really like so much the masses, but very niche audiences. And in the world of business to business, right? Technology, investors, marketing, software, biotech, IT, telecom, you name it, I guarantee you there's a podcast for it nowadays. And that's a good thing, right? It's just another vehicle. It's another channel to communicate our marketing message and for you to be able to get in front of your key audience. So, just like back in the day, there's a lot of blogs and there still are. And, similar to how you might want to find a way to get featured on other people's blogs, the same applies for podcasts. There is never enough podcasts out there, right? People are like, oh my God, I don't know about starting a podcast. There's so many out there, but the truth is there's always micro audiences that are interested in learning, your customers, your client base. So, and again, it's part of the reason why I have B2B mentors for all of my marketing friends. So number one, first off, how do you get your leadership team featured and highlighted on more podcasts? First, you got to do the research and you need to identify the influencers and also the agencies, not marketing agencies, but the associations. That's the word I'm looking for. You need to find where the podcasts are. And don't try to narrow yourself so much. So, for example, you may sell a SaaS solution or a technology solution. That doesn't mean you can't be featured in podcasts, or your leadership team can't be featured in podcasts about entrepreneurship or business or marketing. And on the flip side, there's a lot of technical niche podcasts that are available to you as well, but you have to do the research. I recommend going to Google, going to, LinkedIn search feature in Sales Navigator is fantastic. And you can go in there and actually search for podcasts that are relevant to your industry. Also, I would do the research. I would dig much deeper in potential associations that you're involved with. There's probably a few associations that your company may already be subscribed to or are in your industry, and they may have a podcast. You may not even know they have a podcast, but they do have a platform for you. So do the research and determine internally who is my featured person in our company. Is it our CEO? Is it our technology director? Is it an engineer? Is it our IT director? Is it our salesperson? Right? What I would recommend, let's say, for example, you sell technology services to CIOs, CISOs, technology directors, you name it, CTOs, and there's podcasts out there that are built for CTOs. Who on your team might be a better fit to be on that show as a point of authority? A lot of times, marketers try to shove their president or CEO or salesperson to do a interview in a technical platform like that. But I would recommend like for like. So if you're going on a CTO podcast, who in your company is the CTO? Or who in your company has had CTO or CIO or CISO experience that would be a better kind of familiar or peer to learn from for the podcast listeners versus someone who is more of a business, right? Like your CEO who may not be a technical founder. Okay. So that was number one. Do the research, my friends. Number two, consider launching your own platform. One of the smartest things I did was started podcasting myself 4 years ago now. And as a result of having my own platform, and I've written articles about this too, right? If you want to speak on more stages, create stages for other people. If you want to get featured on more podcasts, have a podcast of your own, right? If you want platforms to do XYZ, create the platform for your own business. Number one, it's so much easier for authority purposes to get featured on other podcasts when you have a podcast. But also, you can use that platform as leverage. So if I go to other podcasters and say, hey, I have this platform, you have this platform, let's do an exchange. Let's do a podcast swap. I've done this many times. I've approached popular podcasters and offered to have them on my show, and vice versa. They'll bring me on to be featured on their platform. So it's so much easier to do if you have a platform for yourself. Consider launching your own podcast. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a podcast. You can have a guest blog. You can do some sort of co-collaboration content, maybe a co-marketing webinar. So it doesn't always have to be in the form of a podcast. But when you have a platform of your own that you can use as leverage and authority, that's going to make it easier for you to go out and book your leadership team on more platforms. All right. Number three, content. You guys enjoying this, by the way? I see you watching. Make sure you give this a little like, please. If you're watching this after the fact, drop a comment, drop a question. I love getting the DMs from you, just on how you like the live streams. Make sure you share this out. And you can find the audio version of all of these recordings that I do on my podcast apps, on all your podcast apps. So if you just go to iTunes, go to iHeartRadio, go to Spreaker, go to Stitcher, you can look up B2B Mentors and you'll find me. Number three, content equals context. It has been easier for me personally, and I'm not the only one out there, to get featured on podcasts when I'm actually putting content out that is pretty much what I'm doing right now, right? I've gotten offered to speak at conferences. I've personally been interviewed on maybe close to 100 other podcasts and speaking engagements, opportunities, just by regularly putting my content out there. By doing this, I'm showing what I know. I'm showing my personality. I'm showing how I flow in conversation without you even having to meet me. And I'm doing it at scale. So when I have other people approach me, and every single day, every day, I get an email from somebody that from a PR company or individual or marketer saying, hey, we want our CEO or our CMO or marketing director to be featured on your podcast. The first thing I do is I go check out their socials to see what kind of content they're putting out. So in order to prep your leadership team to be featured on more platforms, if they're not already, they should be putting content out in the form of articles, in videos, in maybe your podcast already, in the form of pictures and text and graphics so that people can really see what they're an expert at and how they communicate, right? So content is super important, consistent content, getting out there frequently, as often as you can to your email list, to your subscribers, to LinkedIn, to Twitter, you name it, you should be there. Number 4, put together a media kit. And if you don't know what that means, go to Google, baby. Google's got the answers. What is a media kit? So a media kit is a much more formal way to highlight your leadership's experiences, as well as their accomplishments, as well as other platforms that they've been featured on, right? If they've spoken somewhere before, if they've been interviewed on other podcast platforms before, you should do that through a media kit. It can be a PDF. You can create a landing page on your website for media inquiries. You can create almost a domain with that. Let's say it's your CEO, for example. Buy their domain name, right? Buy their name and then use that as their media kit. But it's so much easier for me as a podcaster to say, yes, I am willing to have you on my valuable platform because you've made it easy for me to visually see how I can plug you in, what your authority is, and what you can bring to the table. Right? Guys, I see you watching this. Give this a little like, please. Definitely helps boost the post up. So that was number 4. Make sure you put together a media kit. Number 5, it's not about what you know. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. So make sure you're networking often with other podcasters. I talked before, right? Doing the research on those associations, on those podcasters, on those with stages that you should and could be featured in. But you got to do that through networking. You're going to get great opportunities by combining these things, right? You got to use content for the inbound opportunities. But at the end of the day, you got to reach your hand out, go shake some hands virtually or in person and network and build relationships. I have relationships with people who, I've been featured on their platforms. I tried for a long time to get featured on their platforms, and I connect with them a year ago. I build a real relationship with them, and now I can reach out to them anytime and say, hey, dude, I want to be interviewed. Let's roll. And that's also going to open the door to more opportunities because people, podcasters, those who are in that vertical space that you're connecting with and building relationships with are going to know and refer you to other platforms that you may not be able to find through simple things like searches, right? Some people with platforms, they do a good job of building an audience, but they're hard to find sometimes. I know people with very niche audiences with tens of thousands of people who are actively following, involved, engaged, consuming their content, but they're not as public with it as I am, for example, kind of like this. They've built their community in different ways. So with that, guys, I'd love to hear, do you have any other ideas? Did I miss anything on how you guys can get, how CMOs, how marketers can get their leadership team featured on more podcasts. This is a great strategy for 2022. It costs you almost nothing. I know a lot of people that have paid a lot of money to send out to lists of, through associations to do a banner ad on their website. But for whatever reason, podcasts truly convert and stick so much better. Once you get someone listening to you and listening to you in a long form type of format, there's a relationship and in a sense of, like I know this person by the time they're done talking that you really can't get anywhere else. And a lot of podcasts sometimes are on video, right? So that's another great way to get your face out there and get the branding that way. On that note too, guys, if you want to see how a number, hey, Bruce from Tampa, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, brother. Hey, well, I have to give you a call this week. We got to connect. If you guys want to see how high-level CMOs, marketers, PR experts, I'm putting together a group of high-level marketers that you can come in and sit in and listen for free. So go to activeblogs.com/live event, and you can literally sit in a room with marketers that have done hundreds of millions of dollars in business, in marketing budget, in management, in leadership, and you can jump in and ask questions, mastermind, network, and build relationships that may be a complete game changer for the way that you're going about your B2B marketing this year. I came to realize, I don't have to be the total expert. I can bring you guys the experts in my network to help to also network with, right? If they're in my network and I'm connected with them, and you take the small step in the action to show up at our event this week, this Thursday, by the way, I don't know when the next session is going to be. So make sure you get in this Thursday. The link is in the post. But if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for my friends and my network, and I will open those doors for you. It just takes one little golden nugget, one little tiny piece of information that can completely change your life, your business, and everything that you're doing. So with that, guys, hope you enjoyed. Okay, make sure you like this. Make sure you share it. Bruce, I'm in Tampa, buddy. I'm in Tampa. I'm in St. Pete right now. I can wave at you from across the bay. Guys, much love to you. Make it great, and I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.